Well, welcome to Mining Now, and I'm your host, Roy Slack, and this episode is the second in a series of 3 episodes featuring Micromine and Micromine Alastri mine planning technologies. And with this episode, there will be links provided to the other episodes as well. And we'll be talking today with Nick Nikfar. And Nick is the mining consulting manager, open pits with advanced mining production systems, and a Micromine Alastri user. And let's start the show, and welcome, Nick.
Thank you, Roy. Thanks for having us.
And always like to start out to find out a little bit about yourself personally, your background, how you got involved in mining, and how you got involved in the technology you're working with today.
Yes, graduated mining engineering about 20 years ago. And after that, got involved with a bit of drill and blast, road construction, and tunneling back in Iran. And then 2006, I moved to Australia. So I had a little bit of experience with business management as a production manager and a GM, and got into the mining game earlier 2000 or late 2010. Since then, in different commodities and different companies, including iron ore, lithium, gold, and more recently copper and nickel. Yeah, I've been using Alastri for a number of years now, pretty much since they started about probably 4 or 5 years ago, when we were all trying to develop this great software at Rio Tinto, and doing the life of mine plans with Alastri Tactical Scheduler, ATS.
So that's how you got introduced to the technology. Were you part of the team that selected it, or were you was it there when you started? How did you get involved at the start?
I started right after they actually selected it, so it would have been like a month or two after that. But what they were telling me, there were a number of softwares trying to actually do plans with the same kind of set of data. And let's say the other softwares were taking like number of hours to do. With Alastri ATS, just push the button, 45 minutes later, you got a life of mine plan over 30 years or something. That was extraordinary, very impressive.
Well, that's very interesting. Did you were you exposed to some of this type of software before? Because it sounds like you're comparing it to what you had used previously.
Yes, definitely. So we did use different softwares before, and the problem is like scenarios and optionalities that you want to do. So sometimes we are tempted, okay, how about we use this access road? How about we actually change the design a little bit? How about we actually go different scenarios to help the senior management to make that like one decision that they have to make and choose one scenario. So imagine every scenario we had to spend like number of hours, just hit the computer running, go home, come back and get the scenario early in the morning. Hopefully nothing is going to crash during the night and the power is not going to go off. So with Alastri, it just gave us the flexibility to actually go through these options. And that helps quite a lot to get more value out of the operation and out of the deposit.
You mentioned something I found interesting, because most of us think of this type of technology as planning technology, but you talk about it in terms of decision making, in helping people make better decisions, or part of the decision making process.
I would also add value adding to the operations as well. So just imagine you are actually looking at one scenario or two scenarios. So when we are doing studies in like multi-million dollars kind of operations, so we need to have multiple options to actually consider all of these big financial decisions. So they all drive different kind of avenues to get to the final decision and the final product. So, and the other kind of side of Alastri, which sometimes people intend to overlook, is Whole Infinity and Rapid Reservoir. These are great tools. These are fantastic tools, actually. Whole Infinity is my favorite. So there have been studies that I personally was involved, and we were going through our 16 options and quickly in probably less than a couple of days. So we went through all 16 of them and just put some high level kind of information into whole infinity and just said, okay, this is not going to work, this is not going to work. Instead of going through 16 scenarios, we knocked down probably 10 of them, and then we just only got like down to 2 or 3, and we spend more time and focus more on those scenarios that we're going to achieve the better results.
When you talk about, and if I get this right, Hall Infinity is the name of one of the tools, which evaluates your haulage systems, your haulage equipment, any optioneering you would do on haulage. Did I get that right?
That is definitely right. So basically, there are a number of ways to actually, when you are at the early days of your study and how you want to actually set up your plant, your infrastructure, such as rock storage facilities, like, or good old saying, base dumps, and stockpiles, where actually put our ROM, what is the best way actually to manage our access roads and haulage, and of course, on the top of everything is the safety. So Whole Infinity is the best tool because it will give you that like the most optimal kind of a solution to get from the destination to the from the source to the destination. That's what we want. And sometimes there is this, depends on the operation. Up in the Pilbara, where the major iron ore operations are, there are always trains, there are always different ways of just setting up the operation. So sometimes it's probably worthwhile to spend that money and build that land bridge. And instead of just increasing the haulage route, we actually make it a lot shorter. And over the life of mine, or over the life of operation, we could actually evaluate the value that those extra the value of shorting the haulage route will reduce the load cycle time, which means that less truck hours will be needed. So that's how we actually evaluate all of those, and Whole Infinity is a key tool to that.
So if we go back in time and you started using this with the at a Rio Tinto operation, but one thing I know, and sometimes people don't realize, in the consulting business or contracting business, you end up seeing a lot of different operations, a wide range of clients and commodities. So from your days of learning, and I guess personally you got sold on this software, so now you're out selling it. Maybe that's not the right word. Convincing customers it's the right application for them in a variety of different settings.
Absolutely. In the past couple of years that I've been working for advanced mining for AMPS, advanced mining production systems, we've come across different clients who actually needed a software very intuitive, very actually with the animation, to be able to actually discuss and share this mine planning knowledge, that which is basically in the mine planner's head most of the time, and or on a spreadsheet with a bunch of numbers, to actually show it to the different stakeholders and the decision makers. And sometimes even the people, like, they're very down in the pit, and they are actually gonna execute these plans. So as soon as we actually showed them the ability that and the values that this software is going to bring to the operation, it wasn't really hard to convince them. And our collaboration with Micromine Alastri has been great in the past couple of years. And I mean, I've got a great example here with one of our good clients, Rock Hard Lithium. So there are different challenges there. Always there are challenges, and there are common challenges in almost all of the mines that we go through. There are safety, there are accessibility, there are productivity, ore body, narrow vein mining in gold and lithium. So you want to increase your mining recovery as much as you can. And there are obviously contamination, fluid management, and like small benches, the small mining faces. So these are all a bunch of challenges which actually make our life interesting as mine planners, and we have to bring everything together and come up with a product that actually covers all of the aspects. So in this example, one of our engineers actually has been collaborating with the client, and what we have come up as a team. So the result was extraordinary. So the mining productivity is just increased significantly. When I say increased significantly, I will let you know some numbers at the end, and you can see how significant this value adding is. So all the way from the bench planning, I haven't seen any better tools for bench planning, better than Alastri kind of rapid reservoir and whole infinity. It is fantastic. It is step by step, almost like spoon feeding. Like it shows you all the details, what time, how, and how we actually make this plan work, and what we actually mean, where the digger is going to go, where are the drillers going to actually be drilling, and when we're going to be blasting, and avoid all of the safety conflicts. Like there is a bench above. This is a common scenario in almost every mine site. There is people actually mining on the top, and there are people actually drilling at the bottom. So we got to make sure we are not actually we are not compromising the safety there. So when we actually got the animation going, and you can see, oh, there is a drill rig over there, and there is a digger on the top. Don't do that. Change the plan, change the sequence, come up with a better kind of an option. So change the work together with the client. We blast polygons have changed. We actually come up with a new kind of a way and approach of digging, and basically digging to the contact to get a better and cleaner kind of ore. And yeah, the outcome was extraordinary. So in just one bench, you can imagine, we know at the time that we actually were presenting in this kind of presentation in the Alastri user conference a couple of weeks ago. So the lithium was sitting around $5,000 Australian dollar per ton. And just one bench, we added, not saved, we added extra 23,000 tons clean ore to the system. That's only one bench, and you can imagine over $100 million one bench, and they have got another 5 benches to go. So this is just the dollar value, but just imagine the ROM is not going to be hand to mouth anymore. The processing is going to be a lot easier because of the less contamination and more relaxed environment, obviously. So I can talk forever, but
well, it's, I keyed on a couple. I'm a safety guy, and when you mentioned safety, thank you for mentioning that, and also thank you for giving us an example, and it's a good one too. The other thing I keyed on is, I think what's happening here is it's not just the mining engineers that understand this anymore. I'm reading between the lines here, but what used to be, purview of the mining engineer is now technology that operators and executives and everyone can understand without having to go into all the detail that you used to have to go into. But you still do, but now you can visualize it better and communicate it better to the whole team.
Absolutely. With the cutting edge technology like this, let's say you are on a mine site and you've got the whole crew of operators around your PSI, pre-shift inductions and meetings, and you just play the animation of where they are going to mine today, where they are going to blast and drill today on the TV, and they all can see where they're heading to. Just imagine that. And that's been happening with APS, Alastri Production Scheduler. And day in, day out, they can see the values, and they, let's say the quarry manager who's got to go and inspect the mine every day. So he knows where the mining areas are. He will actually go over there and inspect on that waste dump or rock storage facility. The windrows are high enough, making sure the safety of people are being considered, like to the very detail that we have to actually deal with them day in, day out. You're 100% right. Safety is a top priority. No operation worth actually operating if it's not safe.
Now, I'm going to go back because this isn't my area of expertise, but I know a little bit, maybe enough to be dangerous. But the input data is the reserve data or the sampling data or whatever data you have. And I noted here there's a comment about rapid reservoir. Is that Is that a tool in the system, or?
Yeah, Rapid Reserve, good old like softwares. What we used to do, we used to use CAD sort of, let's say, Vulkan or like Origin or other CAD softwares,
Yeah.
and prepare this block model and the solids to actually feed it into the plan. Now, I mean, personally myself, I hardly ever use those CAD softwares anymore. I'm actually been off the tools for a while now. So we actually use Rapid Reservoir because you can do most things there. You can just import the kind of block model there. You can manipulate it in any ways, and even with your softwares, all with your design softwares, all you need is just a topo on the top and your pit design, and you can just do. I mean, again, Rapid Reservoir is a great way to stage the pit. It's fantastic. So obviously, the operation, what you want to do, the most important thing, you want to bring the cash forward, right? So it's quite easy to identify that those area of low strip ratio with a lot of or high grade or target those, try to work around that, put an access there, try start your mining over there. That's the beginning of your planning. So forward thinking and strategic thinking is quite important, and Rapid Reservoir is a great tool to help you to get there. So whatever you feed into the plan, you get the result, like, good information into the plan, good result back. So with Rapid Reservoir, we actually start planning. Planning starts from the very beginning at Rapid Reservoir. So we import the block model. By the way, with the block model, it doesn't need to just be the reserve model. I don't want to get into too much details there, but you could get your grade control model there as well. So it means that actual results are there. So you could actually manipulate it in a way that you could have your grade control model, and as far as the grade control model goes, then you stop there, then use your kind of reserve model, which is based on your resource model anyway. So these are the examples that you could actually get with your blending strategies. You will know what exactly you're taking from the barn and sending it to your own. So again, I can actually explain more and more details, but I think that's just I'm trying to keep it at as a high level as possible.
and I appreciate that. Let me tell you. But another thing you mentioned, and I'm a project guy. That's my background, and
Sure.
we've been talking a fair bit about utilizing this in operations. But when you mention that you can use it to move grade ahead or to mine higher grade areas earlier, and I'm thinking about the net present value in a pre-feasibility or feasibility study. Is this an operations tool, or I'm assuming it can be used at any stage, right from concept to pre-feas to detailed engineering?
Absolutely, absolutely. Almost from order of magnitude stage, you go to order of magnitude pre-feasibility, feasibility, and then all the way to operation. So, and connecting these dots, because there are two kind of connected but separate package. You got your Alastri tactical scheduler, which does your longer term plans, and then you can break it down to the shorter term and actually integrate it with your Alastri production scheduler, which actually follows. It is quite important that whatever we do in the shorter term is actually serving the longer term purpose, and that's how you increase your net present value. From the staging point of view, when I was talking from the at Rapid Reservoir, when you're actually involved in the study space, you want to bring in cash as soon as possible to actually be able to justify it. Obviously, today's cash worth more than tomorrow's cash, right? So you want to bring in this kind of cash as soon as possible and reduce that waste that you have to mine. So to be able to actually inject some money into the project, to be able to afford. So ideally, we want every single project that we work on to be like have a minimal kind of capital and a big cash flow, so it can actually serve itself, so it can actually pay for itself as soon as possible. So that's the Rapid Reserve is one of your key tools that you could use for that.
Well, I think whenever we look at a project, we look at there's always that trade-off between capital and operating costs. But
Yeah.
if you can, from early on, if you can use this tool from, like you said, from order of magnitude or concept right through to operations, you can continually optimize or use it to your advantage at every stage.
Absolutely.
Your background has been a lot of different commodities, and you mentioned lithium, which everyone's interested in these days. And so how widespread is the use of this of Micromine Alastri now? You're based in, I'm not sure where you're based, Nick. You're based in Perth, or?
We are based in Perth, in WA, which is a hot center of lithium at the moment in the world. And there are multiple lithium operating kind of operations at the moment. And we have been lucky to be able to work with, I would say, probably most often there is only one mine site that we actually don't have engineers to help the clients. We almost use Alastri in every single mine site with lithium because of the value of the product is so great.
Yeah.
The way that this software is intuitive and flexible to actually to be customized to the need of the operation is extraordinary. Like that example I just explained, that was a classic one. So I could give you probably other examples from other mine sites as well, and actually show you how this is being customized to their needs. So you got a small little operation, and it's only one pit. We did actually do work with one of our clients collaboratively again and change the entire staging, and that goes for other commodities as well. So more recently, we actually had another client which they were working with another software, which is, that was a great tool as well. But we helped them to transition from that software to Alastri. And one of our principal engineers working at that operation received a big thanks note from the head of the operation to say the quality of the reports that we're getting is extraordinarily different. It's just September last year, 2022, to compare to September this year. It's the output which is required by those decision makers at the higher level, senior executives, senior managers, to navigate where the operations is going, where they're struggling, where they need more support, and where the area of focus is to actually increase the value of the operation.
When you get involved with the client, obviously there's implementation of the software and utilization. You become part of their team, I imagine, but is there also training? Is the long-term goal for them to operate this on their own, and you go to the next mine and implement it?
The way that we actually get involved, Roy, with our clients, we partner up with them. The way that we look at their operation is like our own operation, and our collaboration with Micromine is actually helping us quite a lot and helping the customers as well. So what happens is like they will ask us, like there are some also brand new operations. They ask us, okay, what's your suggestion? We say Alastri is the way to go. Then we get the Micromine Alastri involved. They will do the proof of concept, and then we go over there and implement it. So then we will hold the engineer's hand if they are not familiar with the operation or with the software. We will train them, coach them, and then they can operate. We make sure the result is good. Then we sit back and support them if they need it. So, and that's been working actually. That's been working very well.
So it's a system that the mining operators can, or the mining engineers at the operations can utilize, and the operators can understand. Even the executives can understand it.
It's amazing.
That's a bit of a facetious comment, but
yeah, because you don't need to run a plan for it. It's like a very user-friendly software, and you don't even need to run the whole lot. They can actually, as mine planners, what we normally do at the end of the plan, when it's all finalized and approved, we actually export the video, and anyone can actually just press the button and see, okay, what are we doing this month? What are we doing in, let's say, in 10 years down the track? Where are we really mining? Which pit? So because sometimes you get involved in like, a hub, especially in iron ore kind of operations here up in the Pilbara. This executive team, they want to know if they have to spend a couple of $1 billion in 2028, where are they actually spending money? Is that, so yes, the visualization helps quite a lot.
And I think the point I think we all are starting to realize this in the mining industry is that every decision is big dollars.
Absolutely.
And a new mining operation is a huge investment, and there's risk involved, and the more you know, the less risk there is. And it sounds like this is a tool to reduce risk through optimization.
Absolutely. It definitely helps your risk profile. And the money spending decision-making process is quite huge, especially up on the Pilbara in iron ore projects. Just imagine if you plan to spend, let's say, $2 billion to build a plant in 2030. Now your mine planners actually using these great tools and push that back by, let's say, 1 or 2 years at the discount rate of like, let's say, 10%. That's about a couple of $100 million per year. That's just like inevitable. When you're using this great tool, it's actually the best investment ever.
Well, and again, from a project perspective, and I have been on the other side. I've been on boards where projects have been presented to me, and there's a lot of focus on that net present value, and it can make or break a project. And if you can optimize it in the early stages like that, much better chance of getting your project approved and getting the capital for it.
Absolutely. It's all about convincing that those project managers and executive team that the money that they are going to spend on this project, there will be a return for it, and the net present value, it's there, and they will be convinced, and they can present it to the shareholders and bring this value to the shareholders.
Yeah, and I also like the idea that what you're using at the very start is what we use in the design phase, is what you use in operations as well. It's something that stays with you and grows with you and just becomes part of your operation.
That's correct.
Yeah. Well, these shows are always very educational for me, because I know a little bit about a lot, but I don't know a lot about a lot of things, including this, but I know more now. And Nick, what anything you want to relay to our audience, say to our audience to wind up the show today?
Yes, I've been around over 20 years in the industry now, and using different softwares and different kind of tools, mine planning tools, designing tools. To be honest, this is just, as I said, it's a cutting edge technology. The money you actually spend to actually use this software to compare to what you get as return, it's not comparable. And also, it's not only that, it's a very user-friendly kind of a software and tool to educate your engineers, to train them and use them. So often we got like this kind of heavy demanding engineer after 2-3 years. People leave, they want to try different kind of commodities, different operations. When the next person comes in, it will take a little while to get used to it and just understand the operation. But tools like this makes the life a lot easier. As soon as they walk in, they hit the ground hard. So highly recommend that. And it's been a great support from Micromine Alastri. So if you need anything and you just don't know how to use that little tool over there, getting hold of them is not hard. Just send an email, they'll be in touch almost. I've never had any issues with that, like almost the same day.
Thank you very much for sharing with us. And we've been talking today with Nick Nikfar, and Nick's the mining consulting manager, open pits with advanced mine production systems. And as you've heard from this talk today, an avid Micromine Alastri user. So Nick, thank you very much for joining us today.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me, Roy.
Okay. And thank you to everyone joining us, the audience for Mining Now.